Snow White is the first American feature-length animated movie, 1937. It's one of the most beloved movies of all time.
The last time I had the dream, I was walking down the school hallway, and that's when I started to notice that something's wrong. Everyone I cared about has been systematically replaced. And finally, I want to scream, and I'm like, why are they replacing every single character with someone who is diverse?
No, make it more lame. That is exactly what they're doing. And that is why we hate the diversity, equity, and inclusion casting and writing in movies.
One major development going on now involves more to do with Rachel Zegler and her attitude towards South Park Studios and Paramount after learning about what they are planning for their upcoming special called the DEI Special, and what they recently did toward both Zegler and the Disney company for their Snow White film. It turns out that both Trey Parker and Matt Stone are already preparing for the DEI Special.
Snow White is the first American feature-length animated movie, 1937. It's one of the most beloved movies of all time.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Say it louder so your other eye can hear you. No, the people who you need to entertain, the people who you need to serve, the people who pay your salary.
You don't particularly see people who, look like me or are me trending on Twitter for days because all of the people were angry playing roles like that. So it was definitely when it got announced.
Snow White! He wasn't a stalker, by the way.
Thing that was like.
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White.
That laugh.
That is
not going to be saved by the
You wrote
prince.
it?
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
It wasn't just that South Park parodied Zegler, it was how. The show has a unique knack for seizing onto the most sensitive, debated aspects of a public figure's narrative and twisting them into absurd, yet somehow cutting caricatures. Think about the real-world context. Zegler's comments about reimagining Snow White, suggesting the original prince was a stalker, and that the new princess would dream of leadership, not true love. These remarks had already ignited fierce online debate. South Park allegedly took these exact sound bites and amplified them through their cartoon lens, potentially portraying the animated Zegler as aggressively dismissive of the original film, and perhaps even mocking the very idea of modernizing classics. For an actress already under intense scrutiny over the Snow White remake, seeing her own words weaponized in satire, presented as evidence of arrogance or foolishness to millions, likely felt less like a joke and more like a targeted attack echoing the criticisms she was already facing daily. The line between laughing with the absurdity and laughing at the individual becomes dangerously thin. The split in public opinion wasn't just a simple disagreement, it was a digital trench war fought with memes, video compilations, and relentless hashtags. On one side, you had number team Rachel, circulating clips emphasizing the personal toll, highlighting Zegler's youth and relative newcomer status compared to seasoned South Park targets like Tom Cruise or political figures. Their arguments often centered on perceived misogyny or racism in the criticism Zegler faced, suggesting the South Park episode was piling onto an already unfair narrative. They shared think pieces about the ethics of punching down. On the flip side, Judger Team South Park and Number Nunk's satire Is Not Slander Warriors fired back with classic South Park clips featuring other brutal celebrity takedowns, arguing Zegler wasn't getting special treatment. They created memes contrasting her comments with scenes from the original Snow White, championed free speech absolutism, and accused her supporters of being overly sensitive snowflakes, unable to take a joke. The internet's echo chambers ensured both sides saw mostly validating content, deepening the divide, and turning reasoned debate into a shouting match fueled by outrage clicks. Why would Disney, a behemoth corporation, allegedly sweat over a lawsuit involving South Park and an actress? Because lawsuits, especially high-profile defamation cases, have a nasty habit of prying open locked doors through the discovery process. Imagine lawyers for Parker and Stone demanding internal Disney emails, memos, budget reports, and test screening results related to the troubled Snow White production. What if those documents revealed executives privately expressing doubts about the film's direction? What if internal communications acknowledged Zegler's comments were causing PR headaches? What if budget lines confirmed costly reshoots necessitated by negative buzz? Exposing internal friction, second-guessing, or potentially embarrassing financial details could not only damage the Snow White brand further, but also provide ammunition for South Park's defense, arguing their parody, however harsh, was rooted in widely reported or internally acknowledged truths. For a company obsessed with image control like Disney, the threat of having its internal workings dissected in court, spurred by a cartoon controversy, was likely a nightmare scenario they were desperate to avoid. Even though the reported verdict favored South Park, the shadow of this alleged confrontation potentially stretches further. While a single jury decision doesn't rewrite national law, high-profile cases like this send signals. Could it embolden other satirists, making them feel legally untouchable as long as their parody is absurd enough? Perhaps. Shows like South Park might feel reinforced in their belief that virtually no subject is off-limits. Conversely, could it create a different kind of chilling effect? Knowing the immense personal toll and reputational gamble involved, future public figures might hesitate to speak candidly or take risks if they fear any controversial statement could become fodder for brutal, globally broadcast ridicule. And studios, seeing the potential for lawsuits to dredge up unwanted internal drama, might become even more controlling of their stars' public personas. The alleged Zegler versus South Park fight, therefore, wasn't just about cartoons and actresses. It became a part of the ongoing, complex negotiation over where society draws the line between fearless commentary and personal attack in the unforgiving arena of modern media. So why would Rachel Zegler allegedly draw this line in the sand, pursuing a massive lawsuit when countless other celebrities have weathered the South Park storm, albeit bruised? It wasn't just any parody hitting any star. Consider the timing. Zegler was still establishing her footing in Hollywood, a rising talent largely defined by a few major roles, including the already embattled Snow White remake. Unlike seasoned veterans with decades-long careers and established fan bases, her public image was arguably more malleable, more vulnerable to being shaped by a single, viral, negative portrayal. Furthermore, the South Park episode didn't land in a vacuum. It amplified an already intense and often toxic online discourse surrounding her in the film. For Zegler, perhaps this wasn't just another joke. It felt like the culmination, the mainstreaming of months of targeted criticism and online harassment, potentially cementing her in the public consciousness not as a versatile actress, but as the problem with modern Disney. Maybe it felt less like satire and more like kicking someone when they were already down, pushing her past a breaking point where silence was no longer an option. Beyond the legal arguments and media frenzy, the transcript hints at a significant personal toll on Zegler. Imagine waking up daily to find animated mockery of yourself flooding social media feeds, each clip accompanied by sneering comments, questioning your talent, your professionalism, even your character. Friends reportedly claimed she navigated a difficult emotional landscape, oscillating between a fierce determination to fight back and moments of sheer exhaustion. The lawsuit wasn't just about money or career damage, it was allegedly about reclaiming a narrative, about pushing back against being reduced to a caricature. There were reports of anxiety spirals, the chilling effect on auditions as casting directors perhaps waited for the dust to settle, and the gnawing fear of being permanently branded as difficult or controversial before her career could fully blossom. While detractors might have dismissed it as overreaction, supporters argued this highlighted the unique pressures faced by young women, particularly women of color, in an industry quick to label and dismiss. It paints a picture not just of a legal battle, but of a human being struggling under the weight of intense global scrutiny amplified by satire. In high-stakes Hollywood lawsuits, settlements often happen quietly behind closed doors to avoid costly trials and unpredictable juries. So why did Parker and Stone allegedly push this all the way to a verdict? According to sources close to them cited in the transcript's narrative, it boiled down to principle. They reportedly saw capitulating, writing a check to make the problem go away, as setting a dangerous precedent. Their fear wasn't just about this one case, It was about the potential chilling effect on all future satire. If they settled now, would every public figure with hurt feelings feel emboldened to sue anytime South Park crossed a line? Would the constant threat of litigation force them to self-censor, dulling the show's edge? Trey Parker reportedly remarked to a colleague, "If we pay up now, the next joke dies before we even write it." This stance rallied free speech advocates who saw South Park, despite its often crude humor, as a crucial bastion against censorship. For Parker and Stone, it seems the fight wasn't just about defending one episode, it was about defending their entire comedic philosophy and the right to lampoon public figures without fear of crippling financial penalty, even if it meant enduring a potentially messy and expensive courtroom showdown. At the heart of the reported legal battle lay a fundamental question. Can audiences truly distinguish between biting satire and factual assertion, especially in today's fragmented media landscape? Zegler's legal team allegedly argued that while sophisticated viewers might recognize South Park's absurdity, a significant portion of the audience lacks the media literacy to separate caricature from reality. They reportedly pointed to social media posts and comment sections where people cited the cartoon as proof of Zegler's alleged diva behavior, or claimed she admitted to hijacking the production within the episode. This, they argued, demonstrated real-world confusion and harm directly caused by the parody. South Park's defense, conversely, likely leaned heavily on the show's long history of surrealism and exaggeration. Their lawyers probably countered with mountains of evidence showing fans laughing at the ridiculousness, arguing that the very over-the-top nature of the portrayal, talking towels, alien probes, exaggerated scenarios, signaled its satirical intent. They might have argued that holding creators responsible for the most literal-minded interpretations would effectively cripple satire, forcing it to be toothless and obvious. The judge